As churches on the coast begin to reopen their doors, one church in Lyman welcomed its congregation back today. Desiree Duncan was there and shows us how worshipers were glad to return.
A socially distanced crowd filled the pews of First Baptist Church of Lyman on Sunday. It's a sight Pastor Josh Kugel is happy to finally see. This is the church's first in-person service since closing its doors more than 2 months ago due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Even under all the social distancing guidelines and all, it's just good to be in the room, worshiping with people, and just kind of celebrating who we are in Jesus together. So
there were several safety measures in place. Among them, every other pew was roped off, and individuals and families were required to sit 6 feet apart. The church also used contactless methods for giving instead of passing around offering plates.
We did everything we could just to make sure that people could be around each other without being close to each other.
Last week, President Trump deemed churches as essential, urging them to reopen. Kugel says while he had already decided to reopen before that announcement, it did confirm his decision. He says a lot of thought went into making that decision, one he recognizes is controversial.
It's not our intent to offend, but at the same time, we know we need to get together, and as adults that can make good, rational decisions, just kind of feel like it was time to try.
And members were glad to be back.
Nowadays, people are just kind of getting a little bit distant from God, and I think we need a little bit more of that. Just good spirits and uplifting people to be around and just get a little bit of social interacting, but still practicing social distance.
I love coming to church today because I haven't been to church in so long, and it's been so great to see the pastor and everybody else.
In Lyman, Desiree Duncan, WLOX News Now.
Kugel is urging those who are vulnerable or uncomfortable with returning to stay at home. He says he will continue to live stream his services for those who decide to do so. Another beautiful day today. Eric, thank you. Some churches on the coast are welcoming back their congregations. First Baptist Church of Lyman held its first in-person service today since closing its doors more than 2 months ago. There were several safety measures in place. Every other pew was roped off, and individuals and families were asked to sit 6 feet apart. The church also used contactless giving instead of passing around the offering plate, and the entire church was sanitized before today's service. Pastor Josh Kugel says it was good to come back.
Just something special about being with God's people in the place that we kind of just come together to worship. And I know that you can do worship, you can worship from home and everything else, but there's something special about this that you just don't get on your TV or whatever.
Kugel is urging those who are high risk or uncomfortable with returning to stay at home. He says he will continue to live stream his services to accommodate. Families have been